Salutations and welcome to the Manabar Video Game Podcast. Today on
September 5th, 2019.
I'm your host, Andy Rose, and I'm joined here with Dan Party.
Heyo.
And Matt Samarco.
Heyo, how you doing?
Oh, it only took 3 tries. We did it.
That was first try.
I mean, first try.
First try.
We did not mess up the intro twice prior to this. I don't know why you would all have that in your minds. So, neat show today. Notice I didn't say amazing or horrible. Neat. It's a neutral word.
Okay.
Doesn't
I can get on board with
raise the expectations too high, but doesn't lower them to the point where they tune out.
All right.
So I think neat is the perfect word. Yeah, we have a few news items we're going to talk about today. NBA, Uplay, Final Fantasy VIII, a little Nintendo Direct news, and then we're going to talk about the hardest game we've ever beaten and or played. But I'm pretty sure Dan just wanted it to be beaten. I had a hard time coming up with things for that.
Really?
I like gave up on it.
Oh, Matt gave up on it. What a
on
loser.
I had a hard time figuring out what games I played because I bet all the hardest games I played were when I was like 12.
What
still counts.
constitutes as hard, too?
Well, difficult to you.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Difficult to me?
I mean, I guess we should
Getting
save
out of
this.
bed is difficult for me.
We should probably save this for the actual discussion topic.
Yeah,
but
probably.
That is true.
All right, fine. Let's talk about
complex.
the things we're playing. I'm going to start this time.
All right, Andy, what are you playing?
So I've been playing a
Video
lot
games?
of the same stuff that I've been saying I've been playing for 2 to 3 weeks
Boring.
in a row. So I played a little more of A Plague Tale
Oh yeah.
this week. I'm still very much enjoying the game. I don't have anything new or exciting to say about it, but I plan to have it finished by Sunday. I sent Shadow of the Colossus HD back to GameFly without playing it, unfortunately, because I want to get Control.
Me too.
Well, Shadow of the Colossus HD was more of a fill-in game until something new came out, and I took my sweet-ass time playing things, so I can, like Dan has mentioned to me many times, I can borrow that off of him anytime I want, and instead I will get Control sent to me now, which is something I'm really excited to play.
Me too.
I've also played more of Zelda, the Minish Cap for the Game Boy Advance.
Old school.
I mean, that's something that's on my whole Zelda chart of games I need to play for Zelda. Hopefully I'll be doing another Link Between Zeldas episode soon. But I'm still really enjoying replaying that game. I've forgotten most of the game because I only played through it once. And I finally started playing WoW Classic!
Yeah, you did. Woo!
Not as much as Matt or anybody else I know.
I've been playing a lot of WoW.
What level are you?
28.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which is more impressive than it sounds because that game
It's
is
actually
a monster.
very impressive. A coworker of mine is level 39.
Jesus.
He
Yeah,
took-
there's a lot of
he
people
took
that
a
are
lot of time
very
off of
far, and I
work.
don't understand it because within like Saturday, I checked Sunday my slash played time, and it was already over 24 hours. And it's even
dude.
I'm sure it's much further than that now.
Yeah, he took time off of work. He plays very specific video games. Like, he was playing basically just Apex, and then now he's playing just WoW Classic. Like, he has very, very simple taste when it comes... I don't want to say simple, that sounds rude. Very unique taste when it comes to video games. Like, he doesn't really, like, play, like, a lot of different games like we do. So he had more time to just play WoW, and he's been...
It's the way to do it if you're going to play it.
What's the cap?
60?
Oh, Jesus. I'm like
Just
a
gets
sixth
slower and slower, too.
of the way through.
You're not really the halfway point is level 44.
Yeah, but I do get a free mount at 40 because I'm a warlock, so that's
True.
pretty cool. Yeah, I've been enjoying it though. I will say.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun.
I did play. Was it called Modern WoW? Is that
Retail.
Retail.
They
WoW.
call it retail.
Okay.
That is a terrible name.
I didn't know. I would play Retail WoW like once a year, and I would always just kind of restart a new character. It's kind of fun and fresh. And the last time I did an Undead was a couple years ago, and I noticed that with Classic WoW, there's a lot more missions earlier on. Because I guess they wanted you, and we were talking about this off podcast, but they wanted you to level up quicker in
Yeah.
the newer WoW or retail WoW, whereas in WoW Classic there was like a limited amount of areas, limited amount of missions, so there was more missions.
Yeah, the problem is because they
early
kept on building on it, so they'd have a new expansion every couple of years, and they would raise the level cap, and they would add more content to the point where they just trivialized everything besides all the end game content. So they're like, all right, we just got to get people to level 110 as quick as we can,
which
ruined the process.
Yeah,
of
it
getting
wasn't
to
my
level
appeal
110.
to the game. My appeal to the game was questing and exploring the area at a slower pace and just kind of enjoying the storyline that goes along with it. I'm playing an undead warlock.
Nice.
I've never played a warlock before in my life, so that's definitely a new thing to me. I'm very squishy, and I'm still getting used to it because I normally play more of a kind of a tanky character. So that's something I'm getting used to, but I am enjoying it, even if I'm not playing it as much as you or some of my other friends are.
Probably
That's
best.
about it, though. I did download Gears Pops,
Oh yeah,
and
I've
I
been playing
did
that.
delete it yesterday.
Good call.
And unlike the several hundred times I deleted Clash Royale, it wasn't because I was getting frustrated. It was mostly just because I did realize how much time I was spending playing the game. And when I say spending time playing the game, I don't mean like spending time waiting for chests to open or trying to do all that. It was the same with Clash Royale, where I would just play match after match after match just because I was bored. But it's fine to do when you're like on a car ride or when you're actually bored. But when you're in your house, when there's like way better games to play and you're doing that
it's kind of a
instead.
pain. It's got that kind of addictive hit that you're always wanting to play it. Like when I get up in the morning, I'm like, all right, I got no chests now, so I gotta play a bunch. Like, gotta play 30 minutes every morning. Like, it just gets like.
I feel like Picross is a much better version of what
gets too
that
much.
is.
Yeah, and
Like,
the problem
I
is
feel like I'm
like,
doing more in Picross.
you also kind of it's like always on you too, so you always have this pull to start playing it.
Yeah.
even though you should be doing other
Like
things.
those types of phone games for me they're a trap. So I deleted it. I saw the virus ahead of time affecting me, and I just cut it out of my life. And that's
Fair.
the end of that chapter. However, I will say, as phone games go for like quality, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was a pretty decent game. I didn't really notice. Maybe I didn't get far enough to notice. I didn't notice that there was like a huge like gap, like in skill between me and a lot of the other players. Like, it seemed pretty evenly matched. Like, as long as your troops were the same level as the people you were playing. So
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt too. Like, I'm still playing it. I might delete it soon because I'm having the same issues as you. But as far as the different level, like the people that can, pay to win and just get a bunch of levels, there was some of that, the first few days, because the people that are going to pay just like are way overpowered then.
Yeah.
But at this point, they've all kind of settled up to the higher ranks where they're way above me anyway. So for the most part,
they're losers, right?
for the most part, I'm just playing people that are, my level. And, every once in a great while, you'll see some guy that's like 3 or 4 levels ahead of you. But that's maybe less than like once every other day at this point. So it's pretty even.
I had a nice week with it, and then I'm pretty much done.
Yeah.
Dan, before we get into games you've been playing, has there been anything interesting on the live feed from the Nintendo Direct?
It does look like they're adding a lot of the Super Nintendo games onto the online for free. So I saw Super Mario World, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. So a lot of those will be soon. You'll be able to play them on the Nintendo Switch.
Good. Keep adding games I already have on the SNES Mini. So when the year-long end of my free Nintendo online subscription comes, I can delete it with no problem. I won't be losing anything.
That is true. That is true.
What have you been playing besides baseball?
So I have been playing Control.
Oh, that's right. How are you liking
Yes, it's good. It is. I'm really. I had to restart it.
Restart it.
I've heard nothing but good things about
So I was about 3, maybe about, no, I shouldn't say 3 hours in. Probably like 2 hours in, and my wife was interested in it, and I was like, I'm already confused about what's going on. So, because there's a lot of terms that you have to remember and know. And the great thing is, though, they have like a whole section in the game that you can go into, and if you completely forget what the heck this means, you can go in and they'll explain it to you.
See, that's what annoyed me about Final Fantasy 13, is that they were throwing a lot of vocab words at you that you really didn't have any like frame of reference for, and you had to like go.
Oh, they'll give you the
13.
very long time ago.
they give you the
poll.
I noticed the same thing with it though, where they added a lot of new vocab words, and they really didn't explain it too well, and you would forget what was going on. You'd have to go in the menu or sub menus to figure it out.
You don't have to.
Do you find it annoying?
No, because they really try and now that I'm probably about 10, 12 hours into it, I'm starting to get the lingo. But at first I was like, am I supposed to know this? Am I supposed to not?
By the way, I think it's adorable that you restarted the game so you could have your wife watch you play.
Oh, well, I figured there's not too many.
That was a compliment. That was
Well, thank you.
In a good way.
I appreciate that.
I know you have trouble sensing my sarcasm.
I know, that is very true. No, but it was just every now and then there's a game that comes out that she is very interested in, and sometimes she'll just be like, whatever, just play it without me, and I don't care. But then every now and then there's a game like, she's like, I'm going to the bathroom, do not play. And it's like, oh, okay, all right.
What other games besides Control and Friday the 13th have there been?
Well, Friday the 13th, she just liked playing. That wasn't really something that she liked watching. But a lot of the horror games, so like Silent Hill, Uncharted, she liked because it was very story driven.
Is Control very story driven?
Yes.
So it's mostly story driven games that.
Yeah.
She
Anything.
likes to watch
Well,
play.
yeah, she doesn't like. When I'm playing like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, then again, that game is not really fun to watch because it's more fun to, hey, I'm gonna level up, I'm gonna wipe out this base and do that. So that really wasn't fun for her. Anything as well, like sneaky, and preferably non-first person, because first person makes her kind of. So like she tried playing Thief on her own, but she said she always got a little, anxiety attack when she had to like fight enemies. I feel like a lot of games don't do first person combat really well. It just kind of feels clunky.
Yeah, it can be hard.
Yeah.
So I've been both like incredibly curious and also avoiding any sort of videos on Control, but I need to know like what does that game play like? Is it an Alan Wake? Is it a Silent Hill? I mean, it was made by the same people that
I
made
literally
Alan Wake, right?
know 0%
Same,
about
Max,
the
it's
game.
like
I
the
went-
Max Payne
I went
people.
in
It's like all
on-
these weird games that it could be. I'm
It
not
really,
sure what it is.
it really is. It's very unique.
Even before you told me about it, I simply saw it on GameFly as a game that was coming out, and I like just typed it into Google, and I just saw blurbs about people who played like the pre-release and were like really excited about it. I'm like, all right, I'll add it to my queue. I didn't even know it was like Alan Wake or anything. I just saw like people saying good things about it, and I'm like, I'll add it to my
Have
queue.
either of you played Alan Wake?
Yes.
It
Not really. I played
No.
like 10 minutes of it.
Okay,
I played like
it
at
follows.
least
If you
halfway
like
to
Alan Wake,
three-fourths.
it is very Alan. Like it plays a lot like Alan Wake. I feel like the control wise. What's neat though is that your gun that you get, you get one gun pretty much in the game, but then that gun transforms into multiple. Like it varies, so you can change it into like a machine gun. You can turn it into like a
At
almost like a
will
grenade.
or throughout the
You-
game, you
you-
have to kind of pick a path.
You pick how you want, so you can have choices. The typical the pistol, the machine gun, the shotgun, the rocket. Every game typically has those when it comes to a gun, so that it transforms into like a gun like that. But what's neat is you're always finding mods in the game, so that you can like, all right, this one increases your health pickup from an enemy. I should say there's two types of mods. There's a personal mod, so like the one that is actually on the character, so that boosts like health or like reload, or not reload speed, health. I think there's like health regeneration. There's also
So it's customizable.
yeah. So and then each gun has its own thing. So that's one where like headshot damage, you can increase, or accuracy, or you can fire more bullets per amount of energy, because you have no bullets, you have energy. It's kind of like the original Mass Effect, where you could have infinite bullets as long as you didn't hold down the button. At this point you have like a meter. Once the meter empties, you have to wait for it to refill, and you just keep doing that. But the story is just like I said, it's absolutely crazy. It's one of those where you're like, wait a minute, so this okay, well, I think I'm starting to understand. And you're kind of skeptical about everyone, like
Skeptical.
skeptical, yeah,
Oh man.
skeptical about who you're
I'm gonna use
meeting
that in
and
my general conversation going forward.
so it's kind of neat. And like I said, it feels a little bit of Silent Hill. It feels a little bit of Alan Wake.
Does it feel like a horror? Is it a horror
Yeah,
game?
it doesn't have a horror vibe, does it? Because that would be
Or you
great.
just mean as
I
far
mean-
as game mechanics go?
No, just it's really
It seems like the problem I'm having is, I've heard different people talk about this, but it seems really hard to describe too.
it is.
Which is
it
also
really
something
is.
that's very interesting.
It's very sci-fi.
Breaking
Driven.
news on the Nintendo Direct right now. They are showing Animal Crossing footage, and Andy got very, very excited.
Oh, that was the news.
on,
Okay,
man.
so Andy is not going to pay attention for the next 10 minutes.
I got you, Dan.
It's like a sci-fi Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Think of it that way.
Yeah, so
It's-
that does
it's-
sound like Alan Wake, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and they're made by the same company and everything.
Yeah.
But it plays like I'm trying to think of like what third-person game it plays like. You ever play Fuse?
No.
Oh, okay. Didn't play Fuse. Because the character is very distant from like the camera, which I kind of like. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Maybe Red Faction Gorilla.
I didn't play that either.
No. Okay. All right. I give up on that one. But
Sorry.
but it's just you have a lot of control over your character. They're very easy to maneuver. You can see easily what's around you.
It's just the one girl you're playing as the whole game, right?
As of right now, yes. But yeah, no. The combat is extremely fun. It's always allowing you to take on enemies in various ways. If you want to do you know about the paranormal like abilities that you have in the game?
No.
Okay, so
I know there's different abilities.
she's almost like
and
a
stuff, but
like a Jedi. Like
a
she can
cyborg
like
almost, or?
she can like pick something up with like her powers and throw it at someone. And it's very addictive to just like, oh, I'm gonna pick up this gas container and throw it at someone and have it explode.
It's like Infamous almost.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? That's actually a good comparison. It's very similar to like an Infamous. Yeah, no, it feels really good. It plays really well. The story, I'm still, I still have that like, oh, I wanna know what's going on. And you're still skeptical, like I said, about who you're talking to and where you think they stand on the situation that's happening at the moment. But it's great, and I love the ability to keep. It's very like a huge backtracking, like Resident Evil 2. Just think of that, except like a giant facility.
Yeah, there's a lot of like exploration.
Yes,
and trying to figure out where you're going.
There is. The places are huge. There's a lot of doors. Like this would be a level 5 door, and you realize,
that Metal Gear.
key card I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna unlock this door, and hey, it's gonna have a mod for me that's like rare or something. They also have along with the mods, they have like rarities. So they have like common, rare, like Andy, you'll like this one. The rarest mods in the game are called Prime. I just thought that was kind of funny. I thought of you.
It's got like loot drops.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff,
loot drops and stuff like that, and not every single one. Like I've gotten 2 of the same ability, and one of them was a higher percentage than the other one. So I was like, oh, okay, it's not just a stagnant. Here it is. You can still find something that's a little bit better. Unlike, I felt like with Assassin's Creed, it's like you found this, and it was like that's the.
So
max.
is it like kind of like an open world where you can kind of do different things, or you kind of
it's
funneled into a specific quest chain almost?
No, it's actually multiple. There's multiple quests, and then there's also kind of like Destiny, where you can take on these like additional things, where it's like kill 5 enemies, headshot 5 enemies, and then when you complete it, you get a mod, and then it makes the challenge a little bit more difficult. Ooh. And at that point, you can get a higher mod for your weapon or your personal the personal mod. Yeah, and like I said, I'm having a lot of fun.
I gotta play this.
Changing the
game.
weapons. It's really good. And like I said, it's massive. It all takes place in this giant like facility, almost like a.
Almost like the first. It's reminding me of almost the first Metal Gear Solid 2, where you're in this giant facility and you have to use key cards to get from one place that's like blocked off to another, and it's all kind of contained, but it's also like a kind of a fun world to explore.
Exactly. Just think of that, except bigger. Like the rooms, every room is like this giant warehouse area. Like there's a lot going on. The rooms are massive. It feels like a federal building. It's like when you first enter, it's massive. It's wide open. And then you start going down different corridors, but If you're big on like, oh, I can go left or right, I want to go the wrong way because I want to make sure to get everything. So if you like that, this game is perfect for you, especially if you like third-person combat. And especially if you like, instead of just using a gun the whole time, like I said, if you want to use the powers, they're a lot of fun. One of the powers allows you, it's kind of like Pokemon, when you get an enemy down to very low health, you can actually take over their mind, and then basically they become your teammates for as long as they live for a little while.
I'm sorry, I checked
Nice.
out.
Yeah,
For a lot
Andy's
of
not
that.
doing this
I figured
podcast.
you did. We told you. We
It's the Matt and Dan cast.
Yeah.
That's right.
pretty much.
I got to
Dan
see
and Matt
more
cast.
of the new Animal Crossing, and I am not more just as excited for it now as I was prior. It's a lot of it's more of the same from the previous Animal Crossings, but they added in like you have this.
Is that Animal Crossing?
No,
That's
no,
not
no,
Animal
no,
Crossing.
That's a different. I don't know what the hell that is. I think it's Xenogears.
Yeah. No. I know what it is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Xenoblade.
I was close.
You were
enough.
close. You were close.
It's a Xeno.
Yeah, it was a Xeno.
Yeah, Animal Crossing looks like it's more of the same, but they've added a few tweaks. I'm looking forward to playing it either way. I haven't really sunk my teeth into one in a long
Xenoblades
time, so.
Chronicles Definitive Edition. It was.
All right, so it's probably just like the
That's actually pretty
regular
interesting
one.
because that was the one that was only out on the Wii, so it's kind of hard to get. And now it looks like they're releasing it.
Great.
Now I wonder
I
if-
gotta sell mine now.
maybe
Yeah, now it just went down. I have it too. It just went down in value a
well,
bunch.
maybe you can just download the additional content. Is it just DLC that's added to it or something?
No, they probably
it's-
make
yeah.
the graphics better. They probably add all the DLC to it.
Oh.
And
never
they
really
it's for
played
the
that.
Switch. So
Oh.
I just
kinda
it's
cool.
turn based. That was the only reason it turned me.
Is that
off.
really the only thing you've been playing this week? That and baseball? I assume?
Yeah, in baseball.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I know.
I
It's
didn't
just
mean to bring it up.
they just
How many coffee tables were injured this week?
none. There was a lot I wanted to break though.
You shouldn't play a game that makes you that
It's
angry.
it's not. Like I said, there's different modes that make it frustrating. The online
Different
multiplayer.
moods is
Yeah, there's
more like
definitely
it.
moods. Yes. No, but it's frustrating how addictive the game is because it's only like, oh, this only one. I only need like 2 more points in this category, and then I unlock a pack.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So
We all sound like drug addicts. You realize that? Like, I'm playing this goddamn phone game, like, obsessed over these packs. He's obsessed over, like, 2 points on these stupid baseball players.
game.
Like,
I had to quit the
video
phone
games are
because I got
ruining all of
addicted.
us. We sound so pathetic.
Control is not. But I have to have
wait for
Amy
this.
there
I
to
just
play
need a
Control.
taste. I'm gonna re-download Gears Pops. Just get a taste.
Just a hit.
just one hit, then I'll delete it again for good this time.
Oh, man. But then you also open your chest.
I just
after
need
you
enough
get
money
it.
to get one more. Just
All right,
one more.
Matt, what are you playing?
Well, I'm kind of bummed you guys stole all of my thunder, I guess. So I haven't played Control, but it's giving me an existential crisis in my video game life because I really want to play it, and I've been playing, like I've said earlier, World of Warcraft pretty much with all of my free time.
Legitimately, that's the only thing I've seen you do.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It does have that, like a lot of people were like, oh, you can't get back that 2004, 2005 magic, but I feel like that's what I'm getting. Like there's this really great community. I'm in this giant guild, and you're talking to each other in the chat, and you're doing dungeons together, and it's just kind of fun. And you just walk by people, and they help. If you're doing a quest, you'll see someone right next to you, and you'll just invite them to your group. And
Oh,
they'll-
I did that.
yeah, I did that with tons of people, and you're doing a quest for 10 minutes, and maybe they'll give you an item that you need, or you'll, like, I'm a mage, so I give them, like, food and water and some other stuff, like some buffs that they need, and then, I think almost every time that I've done this, if one of us finishes earlier, the second person will just, hang out and help the other person, so it's not, like, super, it's a lot of people helping other people, which is cool, too. I'm level 28, which is almost halfway to 60, but really it's not close because there's so much more to do. I'm just Dan and Andy are not listening to me. They're
I
watching
am
Nintendo
listening
Directs.
to you fully. I am simply gliding in my eyes over.
Yeah.
Every so often. Banjo-Kazooie is happening on the Direct, and I just wanted to know if it was a new game.
You
or
can
just
watch
a
it after
No,
the
it's
cast.
64. But this is all
remastered or just port.
port.
All right,
But-
I instantly don't care.
But on a
now.
side note, it could be the N64 Classic that they're gearing towards. But there's a lot of N64. Doom 64 they announced for the Switch Online.
Everyone will know by the time
Yeah.
that you hear
Anyway,
this
go
podcast
ahead, man.
anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, to tell us it's live to them, it's like, God, I watched this yesterday. Just get to something new.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't really want to beat a dead horse. Everyone friggin' knows World of Warcraft. I don't have to explain how good this game is.
It
But
is very interesting because the main purpose you wanted in this was to recapture that moment you had a long time ago, and it seems like you are capturing
I
it.
am, but it's also becoming a problem because, like I said, I'm level 28. I've played for just over a day. I think the average that people say to actually get to level 60, just to get to level 60, is about 9 or 10 days of playtime. So I'm not near there. But on top of that, the stuff that is kind of was the most exciting is fighting, doing molten core, going with a raid of 40 people, trying to kill Ragnaros. Getting those really epic legendary drops that are really hard to get you can't get anywhere else. But that would be a huge forward time commitment. And the problem is, I really want to play Control.
Borderlands
Zelda
coming out.
Yeah, Borderlands comes out in
Gears 5 and
10
tomorrow.
days, and then Zelda comes out a week after that.
You're the only one here who can even play that.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint comes out, and then you roll over to Death Stranding, and it just gets worse from there. And once you roll
Yeah,
into
especially
because
because we have a lot of I mean, maybe for the holiday season it's not too bad, but come turn of the year we have specifically 2 games coming out that are very long RPG games.
Yeah, so I don't know. I almost feel like I should just stop playing it, even though I'm having a ton of fun. Because I mean, what's the I either have to decide that I'm going to play World of Warcraft for the next 4 months, or play Control and all these other great games that I really want
You
to
do
play.
both. Just play WoW sparingly. Oh, is that not a thing?
It's hard. It's kind of stressful because I'm in this guild and they're pretty good, and as much as I'm playing, a lot more than half of the people in that guild are higher level than me. So they'll be 10 or 15. So if I actually want to be in that top tier that's going to be doing raiding and things like that, I'm going to have to play a bunch. So I feel like I'm going to probably lean towards quitting earlier than I want to, just because something has to give. I don't want to stop playing it, but I just kind of have to.
Well, is it worth paying the $15 a month
yeah.
just to play it casually? I guess is
Not for. I think it is for most people. Not for me, just because I don't want to play it casually. It's for me. I want to be all in or nothing, because I want to be able to do everything do all the end game content, which is kind of my favorite part of that game too.
Here's an alternate. Now, I know you have been really looking forward to Borderlands 3. But often I've heard you say, you've gotten to those points where it's I have nothing to play now. So maybe let this catalog back up. Play more WoW for a while, and then, maybe somewhere around, mid-November, just, start smashing out all these games one after another.
Well, either that or play linear games so that you can get them done. Control will probably take you only 15, 20 hours max.
So there's Borderlands, and then
but Borderlands is one of the
Link's Awakening.
I'm gonna
Borderlands.
get behind 20 hours in WoW though.
Yeah, but why are you even going to work at this point?
It's a struggle.
Quit your job. and
At
play
this
WoW.
point, at this point, you kind of know those games. All right, like Plague Tale. Plague Tale is it's linear. You can beat it in 15 hours, and then you're done. So at that point, you have something to talk about, and then you can continue your World of Warcraft escapades.
Yeah, we'll see.
So-
We'll see. So they're doing it in 6. They're doing the release in 6 phases. Phase 1 is this first one where they only have really Molten Core and Onyxia and a couple other end game content. So if it's a really long time between now and the second phase, maybe I can kind of do it slowly, and maybe I won't be on the top of class as far as my server, but I'll get all the content done, which is what I kind of really want to do.
You could also just plan ahead, oh wait, these are the months I'm probably going to be the most free from other games, and just pay for those specific months.
We'll see. The problem is if I start playing other games, I'll probably fall off of it. I just don't have the kind of personality where I can do it casually, but yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll not be playing it next week.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll be playing it a ton next week. Who knows?
I know for me, it's more than likely that I just played the first month just to get that itch scratched like I have in the past, and then I'll move on to other things, because I do have other games to play, and I don't want. I was never one of those people where WoW was my life. So for me, I guess it doesn't mean as much.
Yeah, big difference for me is luckily I'm finally in the position where I wasn't 15 years ago, where I can kind of buy if there's a good game I really want to get, I can buy it, or I can at least I can afford to GameFly it. Whereas when I was in college, it was all right, $15 a month, but I don't really have to buy any other games, and this is awesome. So the fact that I want to play all these kind of banger games that are coming out and I can play them, it's it's just too much of a temptation. So
you could just be the WoW guy on the podcast.
No, that's another thing. I'd just be boring. I'm still playing WoW, guys. I just got a sweet epic drop yesterday.
My
How boring was that be?
I have this friend, and his little brother at one point was like number 2 in the guild of his entire guild for like level or something like that. And I guess to get to that high of a level or high of a stature with your stats, you just had to play like an Omnath. All he did was WoW.
Yeah, that's what a lot of like all the people in my 200 people guild do is just play WoW every day.
I'm that guy who gets to like level maybe like 24, 25, and then I just kind of stop. But it's fun.
Yeah, it's a
For
blast.
that
So
25 levels.
so besides that, I've just been playing. Also, you stole this from me, Gears Pop.
I didn't really steal it from
you went first, so it's like we don't need to hash this out again.
Thieve
My
your
topic.
pops. I mean, you re-downloaded it. How many times have you deleted it since?
None.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, we kind of went through everything.
You're actually like multitasking. I see you have Gears Pops on.
Yes,
while you're playing WoW.
I'll be on a flight path, and flight path in WoW, like they force you to kind of when you're traveling from one area to the other, you have to just kind of wait 3 to 4, 5 minutes for this bird to get to the other city.
Yeah,
and I'll just play a match then.
For undead, it's more of a bat.
Yeah, whatever. There's a bunch of different ones. There's really not. Yeah, but yeah. So we've been playing Gears Pop. We kind of went over everything except I've gotten to the point where, like we said, it's kind of evenly balanced, but there's literally one character in this game called Old Man Marcus. Marcus is the main character, but there's like an old man version of him.
Oh, that's the new series
because
the first 3 took place during the regular time. Now it's like 20 years later.
Yeah,
so that's why.
So there's 3 legendary tokens in this game, and they're the only 3 guys that I don't have because obviously you can get them very rare drops, or you can spend like $20 to get a guaranteed one out of a chest, which is kind of stupid. But there's this one guy, one of them is super overpowered. So I'm at the point where when I play, maybe I'll win, 5% of the matches against him, maybe less. Like I think I've only beaten him twice, and almost half of the people seem to have them.
I think it's funny that the 2 people playing this game are the 2 people who don't have an Xbox One and can't play the new Gears and also don't really care to.
Yeah, it's funny.
The new one, actually, the reviews came out, and it got really good reviews. And I'm excited too because they're
good for you.
They're trying to change
Gears.
with the times. They made it more open. So instead of just linear paths, now I guess there's like different like split paths that you can go down, and
there's like a hub world. And
yeah,
in
there's
Gears
like
5.
I was gonna say instead of one path, you now have 2 paths.
Well, yeah, but the old Years of War games were always very linear, so it's neat that they're
high
taking
walls everywhere.
Well, they said they were not motivated. They were inspired by games like The Witcher 3, where it was, again, Witcher 3 technically wasn't open world per se because you had the 4 different areas, but each map was so big.
Yeah.
If Matt has nothing else to add,
No, I gotta keep. I'm still complaining about Old Man Marcus.
crap. Okay.
Yep.
That was such
So
a
if
good
you've ever
segue
played,
in the
if you've ever
happening.
played Clash Royale, it's like there's basically 2 lanes, and you have to go from kind of decide strategically which lane you want to do. So this one character, he can, by just tapping on him, he can like flip over to the other lane. So anytime you use any defenses against him, they'll just flip over to the other lane. And he's got a pretty decent defense and offense as well, and he's pretty cheap to use. So
These are all characters that I never used.
yeah, it's a pain. You don't run into him until like a lot of people start to have them. When you're a little bit higher, when you've played a little bit more, I guess.
That's
but
like
it's a pain.
I don't know, Arena 2.
Like, no one knows what I'm talking about, but I just personally I needed to
3.
complain about that one character because
Matt.
he's infuriating me.
Complain about whatever you want.
Okay, now we can sweet segue. Do it.
No, that's gone.
Wait, does that mean I can complain about Kojima?
You already did.
Oh, okay.
No, the segue was Dan mentioned Witcher 3. And Cyberpunk was in the news this week.
Oh, boy.
Good segue.
Oh, boy.
Because they're both made by the same developer.
CD Projekt Blue?
Close. You were so close.
I'm colorblind.
I think he was being
kidding.
intentional.
No, actually, no, I think blues get confused with greens when you're colorblind.
And the news.
So, Cyberpunk, or Project CD Red announced that Cyberpunk would be majority first person. Dan, how does this affect your life?
I thought we already knew this. My name's not Dan.
Well, they were. I did. They removed the third person camera, or not the third person camera from the cinematics. So
No, they said occasionally there will be third person cinematics, but you cannot play it in third person when you're in active mode as well. Because they showed a lot of footage where you would be actually like the person would look like they were moving around the character and it would be in third person, but then it would kind of switch between the two. And now it's just most of the game is going to be first person, which is getting a lot of people upset. And I assume Dan is one of them because he loves third person.
I do love third person, but I also
it's making
don't.
a lot of people upset because you can create a custom character.
Yeah,
in this
what's the
game.
point? This goes back to the whole we talked about it a while ago with Apex, where I get a new skin or outfit. Like, great, you don't. All I see is the wrist. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
I just.
it reminded me of Skyrim VR because I don't know if this was the same thing in regular Skyrim, but you literally can't see your character at all. I think there's one mirror you can find somewhere that you can see yourself, but otherwise it's like you're getting all this different gear and it's meaningless that it looks different because you can't see it.
At that point, I understand why they do that, because in the regular game you can play it in third person and see your character at any time.
Okay.
You just kind of like Fallout, you can click one button, you see first person or third person.
But
So,
for me, playing third person in Fallout kind of sucked. I didn't like it.
Oh,
I
I
liked
loved
playing
it.
first person better. And then, like, it was kind of neat when I would have conversations and I could see my character, but, like, I don't know, nothing in that game looked especially special.
Yeah, that's
I would say.
Yeah, but that's the games tend to be. They're just really good when it comes to making an expansive like open world. But I mean, I just don't understand all the customizable things. But I can get over that if it's a really good Borderlands is all in first person, but they don't promote the fact that you can like design your
Customize
character.
the character,
The focus is on the guns, and
which you
that's
can see,
fine. And you can see the guns, and that's fine. If you're going to focus on that, that's what's important. I feel like you know, I want a scope, or if your character, I'm guessing because they're like part like robot or something, you know, maybe you get like a special laser eye that you can, you know, zoom in and you can, you know, automatically tag enemies, or you can see through walls or something. That's fine. Focus on that. Just don't like talk about, oh my God, you can be a male or female, half robot, whatever. Great. All I see is their wrists. I just don't focus on that.
I'm going to be boring with my opinion on this, as I...
Classic Andy.
Yeah, it's pretty much what
Retail, Andy.
Ouch.
Oh, God. That was such a deep burn. I don't know if I can recover from that. I'm just going to walk out. I can see... I 100% understand anybody who's upset about this, including... I was one of those people where if I am like Apex didn't matter to me just because like the skins were black anyways. I don't need to see the skins all the time.
But I mean, at least in that game, other people can see you.
Yeah. Cyberpunk, however, I probably would choose certain things in that game based on how it would make my character look. It's Cyberpunk that's like the Cyberpunk in itself is all about aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's all about the look of it. So that does upset me, and I'm sure when I log into the game it'll show me what my character looks like. But on the other hand, I probably would be playing this game first person majority of the time anyways, because kind of like in Fallout and Skyrim, I feel like when you play in third person, too much is getting in the way, too much of the screen is being taken up. So in first person, it's like, all right, I can see most of what I need to be shooting at and all that stuff. Project CD Red said it was a decision based on kind of like programming the game and just the flow of the game, and I don't know, they really didn't get into too many details, but I do trust them as a publisher. If it means didn't delaying the game, I'll take it.
I'm just surprised they're taking the options away. I mean,
well, again, would you rather have seen this game delayed further to add in that third person setting?
Oh, I'd rather have it delayed.
Really?
Absolutely. If I could. I mean, I played The Witcher. That was entirely in third person, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, but you couldn't... How much could you really customize him?
A ton.
Oh, really?
A ton, yeah. Each piece of armor is like his gloves, his
yeah, but
pauldrons.
The shape of the character, the voice of the character, you couldn't make that character female... all that stuff.
No, but that's only like part of it. But the idea was in The Witcher was all about getting different swords and getting different armor, and that's why I was so excited when you worked really hard and then you got this armor and then you could parade around and be like, look what I have. And on top of that, the other cool thing was in The Witcher when you killed a big monster, like a what do they call it? Not a target. A bounty. When you killed a bounty like a griffin or a troll or something, you cut off their head and you dangle it on your horse. So when you're riding around, people don't fuck with you because they'll notice the thing on your horse and go, oh my God, you killed that, and they'll some of them will say that to you. That's all about aesthetic and seeing your character. But I mean, I have not seen where do they have like a hub world in third person? That would be neat, and that would be like kind of like
your house
Destiny
or something.
Yeah, that way. Or if you're
I mean, I
interacting,
know you can. It looked like you could, and I don't know if maybe this is being taken away, but you could like drive motorcycles and cars in third person.
Yeah,
well, that's
can't
almost
imagine
like
they would switch
that's
that to
almost
first person.
necessary. Like that is like the primary. Like when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out with like a first person mode and like
hated it.
in driving, it makes me sick. And like I can't time. I'm crashing into everything. I just can't use it. So there are some things like driving. It just almost like needs to be in third person because you can't get that feel. But
Does it really affect you either way?
No, I mean, I don't want to come off as this is sounding pretentious, but like it's almost like this is their vision. Their vision is for it to be first person. Like you think of games that are first person that don't have that option. Like I'm thinking at the top of my head, Doom,
Half-Life
the 2016. Like I wouldn't want to play Doom third person. That would be idiotic. Like it's a first person shooter. It's fun. So maybe they've tried. I'm sure they've tried third person. They've said we have to sacrifice too much of like just every little system working together. It doesn't work as well. So I kind of, like you said, until we see the game otherwise and like it turns out to be bad for some reason, I kind of just trust their vision and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I also, make movies and, media in general, it's not like a snap of the fingers. It's just made. There's a lot of intricacies that go into it. So I am assuming it had to do with some sort of programming issue. Like, a lot of the other topic this week of the Cyberpunk was like the customization of the character, and you could like choose your different voice tone and everything like this.
Yeah.
So like if they have to like keep like doing things like, measuring for how big your character is in certain shots and in certain certain cutscenes and certain situations and stuff like that, that can start to become very technical. And with The Witcher, you couldn't customize the physique of the character. You could only add different armors to him and stuff like that. So
That's
you're
true.
programming the same
you're just
polygonal character each time. So I can, but that being said, there's a part of me that's still disappointed. But yeah, I will trust them as a developer because I have no reason not to at this point.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that too, they did say that when you press the I'm guessing like the menu button, your character, kind of like Borderlands, is the like menu, and then
As long as I can see him every now and
so
then,
if
I'm
you
good
can
with
see
that.
them, like I said, if they do a hub world and they kind of balance the mix between third person, like having a conversation or whatever, that's fine. Or
Yeah.
even if they have like a cutscene and it's just from almost like, I don't know, you're the technical person, but from like a random position, but your character's in the shot. Kind of like how Metal Gear Solid is. Like it's not shot from Solid Snake's perspective. It's shot from like as if like a bystander.
camera almost.
Yeah, exactly. So if they have something like that, I mean, like I said, they have a great track record so far.
Yeah. I'll
so-
trust them until the game comes out, and then I feel just as bad as I did when Red Dead 2 came out.
Oh my God, they can't do that to us.
Well, Red Dead 2.
I'll go back to WoW.
The good thing about, I think the big thing is Red Dead 2 tried to be super realistic, and the good thing about this sci-fi game is they don't have to be super realistic.
Yeah. The only thing, I have something written down here about the Nintendo Direct that, how long have they been on Smash Brothers?
I don't know. It's kind of irritating.
All right,
Yeah,
so the
Nintendo
only
loves
thing
Smash.
I knew they were going to be talking about Pokemon and Luigi's Mansion 3 today, but the other thing is, I don't know if this is really, I don't know how many people are actually going to be excited for this, but Overwatch is coming to Switch, which I just thought was pretty interesting. But that's not like really groundbreaking. It's not the first multiplayer game to come to Switch.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like how to play and how to look.
Yeah,
on
I
that
mean,
console. Especially like
Overwatch
handheld could be really interesting to play Overwatch like handheld if you're
Yeah.
somewhere. I don't know if that would work well, but
I mean, I when I first
we'll
got
see.
my Switch, I downloaded Fortnite on it just because it was free, and I just wanted to see how it kind of played on it, and it was fine. But I feel like with a multiplayer game like that, I need a big screen, so I would need to play it in TV mode. That's just how I am with multiplayer games. Speaking of things being ported to consoles, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is out now.
Yep.
And we got a trailer for it. And from the looks of the trailer, I
Looks good.
can't tell how different it looks.
if
I
you
think
see,
I
like,
need a side-by-side.
if you see it side by side,
it's significant.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah.
But I
And
mean,
only
it's
that
still the same game.
Yeah, the frame
It's
rate's
kind of like what they did with the FF9 remaster, it looks like, where they prettied it up just enough to make it look good, But again, with that game, I needed to see the side-by-side comparison.
And they added a few quality of life things like they did with the Zodiac Age, FF12 Zodiac Age, where you can make it go, I think, 3 times faster. Just like, I don't know what all of them are, but just little things like that to make it a little smoother, I guess.
Oh, they did that with FF7 as well. You can make it go like really fast and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the only person. A lot of people have warmed up to FF8 over the years. I feel like I've gone in the opposite direction. When it came out, I was really into it, but now I'm like, the fighting system is broken to the point of like it's not fun. Like the draw system, the fact that the enemies level with you, so you're not grinding doesn't do anything beneficial to you. It's all about just drawing magic that you can then not use because using the magic makes your character weaker. Like all the items and that you junction to your character to give them stat bonuses. I don't know. It's kind of a mess to the point where it's like I love the story, I love the music, I love the world they built, but
that epic opening scene.
Yeah,
opening cinematic.
I was kind of hoping with this remaster they were going to completely rework the battle system. Like, don't add new stuff, but just like fix the leveling, fix the junction system. So
Did they do anything to it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh,
so
it is retailing for $15.99, which I thought was.
I thought it was 20.
Is it 20?
I thought it was 19.99. That's where I heard. Maybe you're right.
Oh, maybe I was looking at the
maybe it was on sale or
Euro price.
$20 sounds about fair.
But yeah, that's a good price. I mean, if you haven't played it, if you like RPGs, it's worth it.
It'd be one of those things I'd wait for
like
the
battle system.
I own it for the PS1. So
Same
for
here.
me, it would be one of those things where I'd definitely wait for it to like be on like some sale for like $5 or $6.
On a physical copy.
Accidentally, it won't happen.
It might.
Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy IX didn't get a physical release on the Switch.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but it's not a remaster.
They should do like a.
This
Final
is like-
Fantasy IX was.
They should do a trilogy release, physical release.
Yeah, see, maybe.
Maybe, except, see, that's the weird thing. So Final Fantasy IX and Final Fantasy VIII got a quote-unquote remastered, but Final Fantasy VII is being like outright remade. So I can see like maybe like a duo pack 8 and 9 coming out, but I mean there hasn't been any like physical release speculation for any of the remastered.
What if 7 does so well? They're like, we're gonna redo 8 through 10.
Oh my god, that I don't know how. Do you think there would be enough draw for that?
10, yes.
I think so.
10.
Yes.
Yes, 8 and 9. I'm talking about though, and
Oh, a
coming
full
from
complete
someone-
remaster? Oh, do 10.
I think it would be almost as.
Oh, do 10.
7's more popular than the other ones, and the more
Yeah,
like
7 and 10, I feel like, were
historically
the...
more important. But
The interesting thing about 7 is it never even got the remaster treatment. 8, 9, and 10, and 12 have all been remastered in HD and whatnot. 7 merely has a PS4 port where the polygons don't look as bad. That's as close as it's gotten.
Well, maybe that's why they gave it the full... Well, not only that, they knew it would garner some attention.
I would be totally into a 10 remake.
yeah, I mean, Square's disappointed
haven't
me
even-
so much since 2002 as far as like RPGs that I feel like if they just did that forever, that'd be fine.
Except one. There's
What's
been
that?
one RPG since 2002 that Square has put out that I think is, amazing.
What's that?
Octopath Traveler.
All right, that's a good game, but
It's not a...
it's not great. I don't
2002
love
was
it.
what, Final Fantasy 10?
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Wait, so you're saying
It's
RPG?
a different...
What?
RPG? You're saying 2002 is the last
You're
time they
thinking
made...
like a
since Final Fantasy
full-
X, they haven't made a great like SquareSoft hasn't made a great
Squaresoft.
RPG.
I was going to say...
full 3D RPG.
Yeah.
You mean?
Okay, I was going to say Deus Ex, but Deus Ex is just Square Enix. It's not
it's Square.
Squaresoft. Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Squaresoft
Same
is Square
thing.
Enix.
Oh, then I would
they
counter
merge?
that with Deus Ex.
Didn't Square merge with someone to become Square Enix?
Yeah. FF10 was I think their last game under the SquareSoft only.
Yeah, it's the same developer.
Okay, so I would counter that with Deus Ex. Was really good.
I didn't love that game.
Human Revolution. No, wait. Whatever the first one was.
It's not really like a like a turn-based thing though. It's like very different kind of.
I mean, the
RPG.
Yeah, but it's
FF7
a
remake
game.
isn't even going to be turn-based.
Whatever. I just want more remakes. Okay, let's just move on.
I mean, I want remakes too. I want Blue Point to make remake Metal Gear Solid 1.
Remake Ocarina of Time, said no one except everybody.
I would totally.
Matt, are
buy
you
that.
getting Uplay? Are you going to be doing that Uplay thing for the month of September?
Yeah. So the Uplay
you-
Plus is that.
You've been saying pretty much almost every podcast how into Ubisoft games are.
I love Ubisoft.
You are.
games.
So I just assumed this would be right up your alley as something. to
Yeah,
take
so it's
advantage of.
it's $15 a month. You get access to pretty much every one of their games, which is pretty nice deal. If
But it's free.
At the time of this recording, if you sign up, you can sign up free, and you get the entire month of September free. So as long as you cancel by the last day in September, you won't get recharged. Which is a cool way if you just want to play like Watch Dogs or any of the Assassin's Creeds, or you can even play Division. You can play it like with the Ultimate Edition, which is pretty interesting. I did download it. It was kind of a pain because I maybe their servers are being hit with a lot, but like it was just not loading properly. It took me 15 minutes just to sign up for it for the free trial. But then I went to their game library, and they have a lot of great games, but I really didn't feel like downloading any of them because it's like I've already
How many
played
of them
all
have
these
you already
games. Yeah,
played?
it's like I've already bought all these games when they came out. So it's like now I'm wondering, this kind of goes back to my WoW problem. Like if I'm playing WoW, I don't need this. It's a waste of money.
Yeah.
If I'm not, it could be fun to play Ghost Recon Breakpoint for $15 because in all actuality, no matter how excited I get about a game like that I'm only going to play it for a month or less anyway. So might as well just throw $15, get the best version of it, like all the ultimate cool hats and whatever they give away for the extra $40.
I just feel like Ubisoft doesn't
at the end
have
of the
enough
month,
of a backlog, though.
Really?
I don't. They've got every Assassin's Creed game, every
Watch
Prince
Dogs.
of Persian game, Watch Dogs. They have like
Far Cry?
what's that really popular?
Yeah, but
tactical-
are you going to want to monthly replay
Rainbow
those
Six
games?
Siege?
Rainbow Six Siege? That's the one I was thinking.
Like, all right, for instance, Nintendo has a backlog that goes back to like 1985. EA with its I don't know how many games are on its Origins thing, but they have a huge backlog that goes back
Yeah, but look
to
at
the early 90s. Ubisoft's only been around since the early 2000s.
well, yeah, but look at that. That's the Splinter Cell.
How many of those games are like really
Yeah,
games
Splinter
you can
Cell's
replay
Crew 2.
over and over again? Like,
Some of the older Assassin's Creeds where they're more linear than
yeah, I'd like to replay those maybe a time, or maybe just kind of like WoW, replay a few hours.
Yeah, but then
to
a lot of their
replay
newer
it.
games, like if you get Breakpoint next that comes out next month, you could play that for months at a time, and then you could
It has
roll
the
that in. You
multiplayer.
could roll that into Watch Dogs, the new Watch Dogs, and play that for a few months, and then
Yeah.
who knows what next game they'll
I
have
don't know.
out.
Ubisoft's just not the type of company where I could pay continuously $15 a month to
Well,
play their games.
I wouldn't necessarily, especially with you, I wouldn't suggest to do that. But what I think might be a good idea for someone like me or Dan, depending on if we want a game, is to just pay $15, juice the heck out of that game, Breakpoint or Watch Dogs, and then cancel it. And then you pay this AAA game for $15 as opposed to 60 or 100.
Well, no, Dan wants the physical copy.
yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. I was just saying,
why I'm not
like
getting Ghost Recon.
people that like to play kind of almost everything that comes out.
Ghost
so.
Recon does
Physical
have
copy,
a
but
physical
requires an
copy.
online connection.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a physical copy. So that's not the
It
reason.
needs to be both.
But that's not the reason.
That is the reason.
No, the
I'm not
reason is
kidding.
the internet.
Well, yeah, but it also needs to be physical copy.
And we did have a listener tell me specifically, I 100% agree with Dan on his take on DRM.
Woohoo!
Oh my god! Don't encourage that, man.
Don't encourage it. You don't know. You won't own your property.
Speaking of listeners,
When they, a little side note, Uncharted,
I understand that I'm not going to own World of Warcraft. It's useless to
Well,
play
that's-
alone, but it's like that's the point.
but that's different. That's World of Warcraft. Ghost Recon is meant to be played by yourself if you want, and focus on the story, like by yourself.
not this one.
It is. It's the same format. It's the same. You go out in the world. It's open world. You pick targets or whatever.
I mean, Matt and I aren't even going to be playing it anyways anymore. So
I know
it's
you
not
guys were
matter.
like day
Well,
one at one point.
Oh, I was day one Gamefly at one point.
Yeah, day one
You know how
Gamefly.
I feel about it, especially Ubisoft military shooters. They're like fine.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say they technically only have like one. Well, two. Ghost Recon is their
I don't know.
franchise, but
It looked like something that I could see. I was only interested because you guys wanted to play co-op. It wasn't something I was like, oh my god, I cannot wait to play this day one.
I
and
would
play it
have.
through.
I
might
would have
still
been.
play it. It just
I would have
kinda
played it day
depends.
one if it wasn't. If they didn't add this stupid.
There's
multiplayer
actually
part,
a there's a beta.
I mean, it's no
that
different than
starts-
you and I quitting Apex just because of the developers
Yeah.
being douches.
There's actually if people are actually interested, there's a beta this weekend that is. If you don't get invited to it randomly, you can just sign up for the Uplay for the month and you get into it.
I'm sorry,
and then you can
invited to it
cancel.
randomly?
Well, I
Yeah,
got
they
invited-
random set. Yeah.
So I got invited to it, and I don't know why. I was in the alpha. Like I must have signed up for like opt me into their things. So I mean, maybe you would get invited if you're opted in, but otherwise you can just sign up for the Uplay this weekend and play it, and then cancel, and then you get to play it this weekend and see if you're gonna like it or not. But
Yeah, I don't know.
that's only on PC.
I was just it was really only the only thing that was connecting me to that game. Same thing with the last Ghost Recon was, I can play it co-op with friends, and one of you is not playing it and is also going to be playing Call of Duty with me instead, and the other is kind of on the fence, I guess.
Yeah.
And might be, if he plays it all, plays it on PC. So
Probably. We'll see.
I'm just like, I wasn't interested in the one player campaign. That was like a strictly I'm gonna have fun playing co-op with my friends for a couple weeks type game.
Well, see, that's where I'm worried that these game companies are focusing on, oh, you just play with the team and then you don't focus on the single player. That's why I'm worried about games in the future. I don't want them
about games in the future.
Well, I want single player campaigns. I don't want them to be, we're not going to make a lot of money.
I don't think single player campaigns are going away.
I hope not. I don't want them to fear.
Your physical copies are going to go away eventually.
Eventually.
I'm sorry about that.
Yes, but again, if you own the media, if you download it and you own the rights to it, that's a different story. But it's the constant online connection is what I hate.
No, I feel you.
So, well, good. I'm glad there's one other person that agrees with me.
I mean, I didn't disagree with you. I just thought you were being a little overdramatic about it.
No, I think it's really frustrating, the fact that you won't own your media. And like I said, Uncharted 2, 3, and The Last of Us servers the multiplayer servers have permanently been shut off. You can never play them again. And The Last of Us multiplayer was actually a lot of fun. So,
did The Last of Us multiplayer servers go down?
They just,
because multiplayer sucked.
No, I think it was very unique because it wasn't just a straight up just, hey, shoot the opponent. It was, hey, you need to get.
What else? It wasn't fun.
I had a blast with it. I thought it was interesting.
Matt, I actually have a specific question for you before we move on because that story reminded me of listener mail. One of our listeners was wondering how you are liking Divinity.
Oh,
because you play that every week.
Yeah, I play it every week on usually like once a week with a friend. Just for a couple hours.
Now, do you have a physical copy or did you download that onto your system?
I think I downloaded that when it was on sale at some point.
Boo.
I bought Divinity 2 hard copy, if that
good.
makes you feel any better.
I download a lot of games.
I typically don't download games. I like to have physical copies, but sometimes if the
but then you complain
really
that you have
PSN.
a stack of games you're never going to play again.
Yeah, but then I can sell
You keep
them.
asking me how much money can you get for selling these games.
Yeah, I can't do that.
So
with my
evidently you
digital
don't
ones.
really care that much whether or not you have a. Well, yeah, you can't sell the.
No, there's a lot of games that I won't sell.
On top of that, he can let you play it, Andy.
Yeah, but
I'm not going to sell.
Keeps game flying all the games that I wanted to borrow.
I will let you borrow Shadow of Colossus. That's not moving anytime soon.
So I'm sorry, Matt. How's Divinity?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's the beginning.
2 or 1?
First one.
Okay, I have 2. I when I heard it was kind of like this stop, do the attack, and then like go kind of like Dragon Age. Dragon Age 1, I should say. I kind of backed off a little bit. And I was like, oh, I suck at these types of games.
It's also a game that's better co-op.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun co-op. Like you can go completely different directions off screen, but it's kind of, unless you're in a town, it's best to be close to each other because you'll need each other's help during the fights. It's actually a pretty hard game. I think one of the issues with the game is it seems very difficulty heavy in the front half or the front end. We were struggling in the first kind of like town area world to level up. Like we were just dying a lot.
You and I, when we played it together, straight up sucked at it.
Yeah, we got stuck because at the very beginning of the game,
was that our fault or was it the game?
I think it was the games because me and my friend Sarah that are playing it now had basically the same problem where you're in this town, you're trying to solve a murder, but it's like which is fun to kind of do this mystery thing as opposed to just fighting. But it's very convoluted. There's a lot of different things that you can do. There's not a lot of solutions to it though, and you kind of have to fall ass backwards into the solution. It's not really like the solution isn't contained like specifically in that town like you would think it was, and it's kind of this big larger. I don't want to ruin the story, but it's just kind of snowballs, and it's hard to.
So it wasn't us.
It wasn't us, and that it doesn't hurt. It doesn't help that the beginning seems so difficult. So you'll hit up against these guys that are harder levels. So then you're like, all right, let's go back to the town. Maybe we're missing something, and you're not. You just have to struggle through those fights. I guess.
I'm just saying, I didn't graduate with a 4.0 GPA, but that solution wasn't in the first town.
Yeah, but so after you get past, I don't know, maybe the first dozen or so hours, excuse me, it gets a lot more manageable. The leveling seems to make a lot more sense. And it's just been a lot of fun to go through, like explore these different worlds. It's kind of like it kind of reminds me of The Witcher in that there's like a kind of a full world with different characters that all have like kind of different quests, and you can get all these different quests. You don't have to do all of them.
But it's like to me, it played like maybe an RPG like Witcher combined with maybe Diablo a little bit too, just because that
it's kind of got that
perspective.
Yeah, it's got that top down kind of Diablo perspective with loot drops and everything like that. And it's a lot of fun. It's just there's like you can craft things that game, which I haven't done. There's a lot of things that you can do in that game that it's kind of like too much, like with the specifically the crafting and.
According to Dan's phone, it's 100% critic.
And that's based off 70
Suggested.
reviews.
Well, that's Divinity 2, right?
Yeah, but even Divinity 1 had an mid-80s. It had another
Yeah, I've
high
heard
score.
Divinity 2 is better, which I'm kind of excited because I want to finish this one and then start playing the second one.
Yeah.
At some
Maybe
point
I'll play that one with you because I own it. But I don't even know how the
that.
combat works.
It's
Is it like Diablo where it's like you press the button they attack?
turn-based. No. It's more turn-based. So you'll have like
It's kind of like WoW.
the way it's typically played is you'll play as one character, your partner will play as one character, and you'll typically have two kind of like assistants, and they'll also be controlled by you. So they'll be at the top. They'll be if there's 6 other people. It's just like a turn-based game where you'll get to attack and they'll get to attack. You can use the different spells.
But it's not like you go into like a different cutscene like
No,
Final
you just
Fantasy,
once
so
you
you
get
just-
close enough to them, it just goes like you hear like a kind of like almost a battle, not theme but like sound, and then you can't move independently anymore. You have to wait for your turn, and you can move, which takes action points, and then different attacks take different amount of action points. So you could maybe do 2 short, small attacks, or you could do a spell, or you could even skip your turn and make an even better attack next turn. So it's kind of there's a lot of strategy in the combat, which is probably why the beginning's so hard because you're really not sure how it works exactly. It's also very long. I've been playing this for, I mean, it's literally been many months, but we've only been playing, once a week for 2 to 3 hours. But I still feel like there's so much more left of that game, and we've been playing a lot. So it's definitely a full game's worth of content.
yeah.
But we'll see. It's been fun so far.
I don't want to drown on this too much, but I do want to make one point about the games that I decide to download as opposed to getting a physical copy of. The games I download, I either A, know that they're already worthless to begin with. Like, there's no way I can, like,
Ouch.
not worthless in a sense, like, worthless to me to play them, but worthless, like, there's
no value in having the actual physical.
there's no value in me selling it, or it's a game that I know that I'm not going to play quick enough to sell and make a buck off of. Like, there's a lot of games that are sitting on my shelf that I know I'm never going to play again, like newer games I'm never going to play again, and it's unfortunate. It's like it's actually worth more for me not to go through the effort of trying to sell them, to just keep them on my shelf, because I decided to stop being a pack rat almost. I don't want a lot of things sitting on my shelf, and I got to be honest, I've gotten in waves of it. Sometimes it's like, oh, I kind of miss seeing those games just sitting there on the shelf. And other times it's like, why do I have this thing collecting dust on my shelf? So it's like a big back and forth with me. But like, I downloaded the Final Fantasy IX remastered, but like that's download only. There's no physical copy of that. Or I downloaded Assassin's Creed Odyssey for like $10, but like, that doesn't really have like a huge resale value. And I don't really think it's ever going to be like a collector's item or anything like that. So I'm like choosy. Like, I don't download, like, the newer $60 games right onto my system or anything like that because I just don't feel like it's worth it to do that, especially if it's the same price for a physical copy, because I can get money back for, like, a brand new game. But, like, Matt was, like, turning them around really quick at one point. Like, you were, like, buying a game, 4 or 5 days later, you were able to, like...
Yeah, I bought
Trade it in
God
or
of War
sell
for, like, I bought God of War for $60 and then I sold it for like $62 because it was so quick and I had the bonus DLC that you couldn't get from pre-ordering. You could only get from pre-ordering, so it was like they couldn't get that anymore, so it actually raised the price. Just like, and then a lot of other games I would get, day of, sell a week later, and it would end up costing me $5 because you go to GameStop and it costs $55 for a used copy.
Yeah.
So people just do that on eBay.
Didn't GameStop do that weird thing recently where it's like if you can almost return
that was
it
like a test.
Was that for
thing.
Rage 2?
I forget
Days
what
Gone.
Days Gone
was the first thing
that's
they did
right.
it with. And I think they've done it again, but it seems like they've been kind of turning away from that. So I don't know if it didn't work out for them or
Speaking of
maybe
which-
they just aren't publicizing it as much. But
GameStop stock went up this week because they unveiled their new website. Dan, does it look any
It does.
better
It
or
does.
different?
It's it's very modern compared to what they had before. It just looks nicer.
I didn't like write that down as a topic. I just randomly remembered that.
No. I noticed. Well, it kind of sucked because for about 3-4 weeks, it was kind of they didn't know what they wanted to do. So half the things worked, half of them didn't. Yeah, this is good news because, like I said, I wanted to make sure that my pre-orders that I had for the end of the year were actually going to survive before the company went down. So,
I think we would see more warning. I don't think the.
well, I mean,
do you think they would just pull a Toys R Us where they would suddenly just like pull the rug out from under you?
I would hope not, but I mean, there was there was talks. I remember pre-ordering the Death Stranding collector's edition, and then people were like, "You even gonna make it that long?" And I was like, "Oh, great!" Because I even have Cyberpunk's.
You know what?
Edition,
The bump up in the stock is still nice to see. So maybe they'll be around for a little longer. But
well, did I talk about at one point when I talked to one of the managers that's very close with one of like the higher up district managers?
The guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
Pretty much. This guy was saying what I was hoping they were going to do is they want to turn some GameStops into like cafes.
Well, yeah, that's what the guy who took over GameStop, that was like his whole plan.
Yeah, and I like that. And I think
people to like, have more games available to try and maybe hopefully not worry as much about pushing certain things onto the consumer, maybe being more consumer friendly.
Yeah, and on top of that, that's probably why I understand why they're selling they were buying the Switch for such a decent price
to like have them
because they want them,
yeah.
so they can send them to a bunch of stores to with Switches you can have multiple Switches out at once. Hence why they tried to buy into the retro and stuff like that. But
I still think it would have helped to buy GameFly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they could still do a GameFly service, but anyway, go ahead.
Do we really? I don't know if either of you really want to talk about this. We could just kind of all collectively say 2K's stupid.
Sure. Oh, the casino crap. This is a really funny thing.
Do you guys just want to collectively say 2K is stupid and move on?
Yes, but I just want to add one thing. Angry Joe has a really funny video about the 2K20 basketball game.
So
it's really funny.
So for people who don't know, quickly, there's a 2K released a short trailer for
that's now been taken down.
NBA
Really?
2K20, and it was basically an ad that was almost exactly just a casino, like a slot machine, roulette wheel of things that you can do in the game.
Now, I don't know.
So they can do pay to.
Yeah, did they say it was all like pay for stuff, or
I think one of them you can't. Like
assumed...
I think the roulette you couldn't actually pay with real money, but most of the other stuff I think you could. So I don't know. They weren't really clear on it.
And casinos have nothing to do with basketball.
No, but they do they're basically making it shiny and glimmery. They do the same thing in baseball, and it's the stupidest thing. You open a pack and then just like either play Hearthstone.
Well,
anyway,
box
but when you
in any game,
but now they have it like everything's the card is face down, and then when you hover over it, it glows depending on what type of rarity it is. Except the baseball is the stupidest thing. So when you get a gold guy, for some reason he comes out and he's like dancing or like he's doing backflips and like stretching. It's the stupidest. It is the most awkward like animation that they had to do with these players. But anyway, yeah. So they just try and make
it's stupid.
Yeah.
2K also was really trying to they were trying to get citizens in Belgium to sign a petition to declassify because we talked about 2K19 doing this similar thing like a few weeks ago. So they're trying to push the citizens of Belgium to sign a petition to remove 2K19 from whatever gambling list Belgium had. I don't know. 2K's dumb. Moving on. Moving on to our discussion topic for the week, brought to you by Mr. Dan Party. Woo! I could put an applause sound effect in there, but I'm not going to.
I think you should.
Not going to happen.
All right, Retail Indie.
Damn it. So Dan wanted to know from Matt and I what the hardest game we've ever beaten, or possibly just hardest games we've ever almost beaten. Close.
Let's just say you didn't put in 10 minutes. Go, ugh. So you actually, you got to the final boss or whatever, and he was just too difficult. But if you've gotten that far, we'll call it a complete. So
it's a struggle for me just to put on underwear at the beginning of my day.
My God,
right.
That's not the question.
Would you like me to go first?
No, I feel like you're going to have the best answer, so I want to save you for last.
All right.
I will probably have the first answers or worst answer, so I'll go first. I was thinking about this, and I was struggling a lot because I don't like. I think I've said this on the podcast. Like, I really don't like difficult games. Like, I bought Bloodborne, I bought Dark Souls, but I'm not more than 90 minutes into those games because they just frustrate me and I get annoyed. I'm like, I want to have fun. I don't want to hit my head against this wall. So I feel like a lot of the hardest games I've beaten were when I was younger, when I couldn't buy. So that's a problem because I want to play the next game. Like, I don't want to play Bloodborne. I don't want to play what's that new one? The ninja one.
The samurai one.
Samurai one.
Oh,
you all know
Shakiro,
Shadows Die Twice. Yeah.
I played that briefly, and I didn't want to spend all this time on it because I'm missing out on all these other games because I'm like hitting up against this one boss, and I guess that's fun for some people, but so I feel like a lot of the hardest games I've beaten were probably when I was younger, when games were built to only be a couple hours long, but they lengthened that by making them very difficult. So like, yeah, I beat, the first few Mega Mans. I beat, all the Mario games. I beat, even like the Silent Hill 1 was pretty hard.
Really? Silent Hill 1 was really hard?
Well, I thought it was hard.
Okay, no, I've never actually played 1.
Oh, okay,
I have it on PlayStation.
Yeah, it did sound at first like Dan was calling you out.
No. Sorry, I didn't mean to come off that way.
Jesus.
No, I just didn't know because I've never played it. I played 2, I played 3, I played
because I played a bunch of them.
Okay, sorry.
None of them are easy, but I feel like that's probably the one I thought was kind of by far the hardest.
I mean, it is hard to look at.
Yeah,
too.
and then there's I was thinking about this question, like, what does it really mean? Because I think objectively, games like Sekiro and the Dark Souls games, those are hard
I think
by
you
definition.
That group in particular is purposefully trying to be as hard as possible, and that's their artistic direction. That's what they're going for.
And there are some things that I've done in some games that are not technically hard, but they do require a lot of commitment. Like we were talking about World of Warcraft. When I downed Ragnaros, that was a big deal. Not a lot of people that played that game did. And it's not that it's technically hard because you can kind of just get carried, but just what you have to do to get to that point to be able to fight him is kind of a big deal. I remember when I was a kid being really excited about beating Emerald and Ruby Weapon in Final Fantasy VII because I struggled to do that for a long time. And that's another thing where you can kind of just... I guess even at level 100 it's probably hard, but you can kind of you can put in more time so it's not as difficult. It's more of just a measure of commitment to play it a bunch.
Well, on top of that too, that was at the time where there was no internet, so you couldn't just go online and be like, what's the weakness with Final Fantasy VII?
The internet was very popular in 1997.
Well, not
97? I mean, it probably wasn't easy to just go out and...
Well, there weren't guides everywhere. You could probably find it, but it was a harder struggle, especially for a kid.
It's not like what it is now.
I also have the player's guide to Final Fantasy VII in my room currently.
Okay.
Yes, but you needed to go to a Walmart. You needed to find it. They needed to have it in stock.
Well, all I'm saying is that was like my favorite game of that era, and
it wasn't as accessible,
and it was hard.
Okay,
it took me a long time to actually end up beating those. Like I didn't do it the first couple times I beat the game. So that's like a different kind of difficulty. But as far as I honestly just don't. I'm sure there's a lot of very hard games I beat when I was 20 or younger.
You had a Sega growing up.
Yeah, I had a Sega, and I beat a lot of those very difficult games. But I'm at the point now where I kind of steer away from hard games, so it's hard for me to think of like
what was the hardest game going back to the Sega Genesis that you probably beat that's considered hard by like video game standards?
Like almost any, like Vector Man, I beat both the Vector Man games. If you play those, like they're very fun games, but when you get to the end of those games, it's like this is difficult. This is a slog.
Yeah.
This is going to test you. And this is the time where you didn't really have save points. You had to beat the game or die and start the whole game again.
Yeah.
Contra was like that.
Yeah. So those are the kind of games that I feel like were so tough, and I really enjoyed doing that. But yeah. That's it.
This topic discussion just made me feel bad about myself.
Because you didn't beat a lot of hard games?
I don't know. It makes me wonder.
I just went through a whole mea culpa of not being like, I don't like hard. I'm over it. I'm an old man now.
Okay. It's not that. I guess it just reminded me of how few games I've beaten in general, and or how many hard games I actually played. Because like I feel like when I think of hard games, a lot of the things that come to my mind, aside from the Souls games, and that's like a separate.
Yeah, and I feel like
that's a separate thing altogether.
They purposely don't make games that hard anymore. Like,
well,
except for those, they kind of want people to beat them. And enjoy the whole
that
thing.
was my thought process. Was I kept thinking of older games, and it's like I didn't have a plethora of older games to play growing up. I had the NES, but I had a very limited library for it, and then I jumped straight to the PlayStation and the N64. I didn't have an SNES or an NES in its heyday. I guess I didn't have a Sega. So, like, I'm wondering, would you guys consider the original Super Mario Bros. To be, like, technically a hard game by any standard?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I beat that.
On the original Nintendo one?
Yeah.
The first one? Yeah.
I was really excited when I
difficult.
first beat it. Because
I might think that's the most difficult one. I feel like
one?
well, I mean, the lost levels, but I mean...
you guys made me feel good about myself.
See, there you go.
No, so I played a lot of that game. It was one of my only...
Now, wait. Did you beat it with cheating? Or did you beat it without?
What do you
With
consider
pipes, you mean?
cheating?
The pipes. The warps.
It's part of the game. But I knew about them. That was a secret you had to find.
All
Well,
right.
I mean, he still had to
No,
do the
all right.
last world,
All
which
right.
is the hardest world.
Hang on. World 1, 2,
Yeah.
you can get to those warp pipes. That's the one everybody knows about. But hey, World 4.2, there was a secret planet. You go up the planet, you can get to warp to World 8 immediately.
Yeah,
Not a lot of people knew about that one.
I found that one. But you have to be small. That was my biggest problem. Half the time I was.
No, you don't.
Wait a minute. You're talking about the one...
Yeah, you don't have to be small. We went over this. There's a way to do it when you're big. You just have to be,
Oh, the crouch jumping
Yeah.
thing? No, it's God, yeah.
skillful about it.
Yeah.
So
Ouch.
you go to Warp 8, but yeah, World 8, you have to beat every one of those.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't
the hardest world anyway.
bypass it. And really the only reason I did that warp to World 8 in the first place was because World 4.4, that Bowser level, is annoying because you have to do it directly in the correct path.
Oh.
It keeps like restarting you from the
Oh,
beginning.
yeah.
It's just...
Ugh.
It's like annoying for the sake of it. It's just like memorization.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the reasons why these old games are coming up for probably both of us is just like, especially with quick saves and save files, it's kind of like, even if
Yeah.
something is hard, you can kind of throw yourself at it enough times.
Or there's a difficulty setting on most new games.
It's so frustrating when you're playing a game and you have fun and you get towards the end and maybe there's one boss that you have trouble with and you can't really learn them because you have to play for 3 hours to get to them and then get killed and then you have to restart the whole game again.
Another game I beat growing up
rough.
was Mega Man 6, which I guess those were kind of inherently hard. I remember it being very hard when I was a child. I played it on the SNES. No, did I play it on the Classic? Did the NES Classic have it? I played it.
I don't think so.
feel like
Oh,
it
no,
did
no, I'm
not.
sorry. I have
Two.
the Mega Man collection
2. Yeah.
for PS4, and I played it again recently, and it was a lot more easier now than it was when I was a kid, so I don't know how much of a learning gap
6
there
is tough, though.
was based on age. I love 6. So yeah, I guess Mario Bros. You can sink in. The hardest game I played on the NES, and I don't know if it was hard because it was actually hard or hard just because it was broken, was Super Pitfall. That game
never played
is
that.
hard.
Really?
It's a mess.
Is it hard?
It's a mess. The level's a mess. There's no
Oh,
direction.
that's
You
different.
don't know where you're supposed to be going. There's a lot of things just kind of happening. I remember that being very difficult as a lad, and I don't know. It's not on the NES Classic, but I do still have it.
I think I have.
Or the
Super
NES.
Pitfall,
And
yeah.
I have my NES in the other room. I can play it anytime I wanted to.
See,
But,
there's also there's difficult by design, and then there's difficult because the game
Yeah.
is just like clunky.
And then going through my history of games, I've noticed I don't have a single answer. I'm sorry. I guess Mario Bros would have been my single answer, but I was like
I think
struggling
you should go
to
with
figure
Mega
out.
Man 6 because I feel like Mega
Man
Man's
6.
a lot
The
more difficult.
Transformers games have been inherently hard too. I have 3 Transformers games written down here. 2 of them are hard because they're hard. One of them is hard just because it was stupid and broken. The Transformers game for the PS2, the American one, Transformers Devastation, which was made by Platinum Games a couple years ago, were both hard. They were just hard games. I beat both of those. Then there was War for Cybertron, which was hard just because it was bad. Like, it was forcing you to play... All right, so there was Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron.
Yeah. No. I thought they were.
War for Cybertron was the first one that came out. That was the bad one. Fall of Cybertron was amazing. War for Cybertron forced you to play 3-player co-op almost, but if you didn't have 2 friends to play with, you were
AI.
playing with the AI, and they were
Yeah.
horrible. Horrible. That was just annoying from beginning to end. And then a game that is one of the hardest games I've played in recent years that I have yet to beat is XCOM 2. I have beaten XCOM 1 though. And they're both hard in their own right, but it's almost like XCOM 2 assumes you've played the first one, where it's like they start you off at almost the difficulty level you were at the end of the first one.
Yeah, that
which
has
I
one of
think
my
is kind of funny.
That game has one of my big pet peeves where the worse you do, the harder it gets. So
Yeah,
it's like
and your character's
because
perma-die.
because your character's perma-die, and then you're a lower level, and you have to fight something that you lost to with less.
I'm the guy who just goes back to his
Level.
previous save if I didn't do it perfectly.
Yeah, it's.
I like it though. I
frustrating.
like strategy games like that. And also, I got all the original Overwatch achievements, which was really hard to do. If anybody listening has played Overwatch, I've gotten that Genji achievement. I've gotten that Zenyatta achievement. They were both really hard, or achievement or trophy, depending on which system you play. That Genji one especially was very difficult. If you go into
What'd
my,
you have to do?
so I had to use my ultimate ability, and I'm pretty sure with my ultimate ability, I had to get 3 100% kills, meaning I had to do all the damage on them, which,
In one go?
yeah, with one
Oh
use
my
of
God.
the ability.
That would stress me out a lot.
Zenyatta's, I think, is one of the harder ones too, but I got it pretty early, where you have to kill or assist in killing 4 people within 5 seconds of each other. But I got them. I got all of them. I did it. And Overwatch now says that I've played the most hours of Genji simply because I was trying to do that trophy for the longest time. But all right, Dan, how many Dark Souls games have you beaten?
Show off.
I've beaten all the Dark Souls
Oh my God.
games
And Bloodborne.
and Bloodborne. Yes.
Now, would you say that all of those were necessarily very, very hard, like every one of them? Was there one that was maybe a little harder than the others?
Yes.
I feel like Bloodborne was harder a bit, to me.
No, the thing about Bloodborne that made it easy is that when you got hit, you could gain your health back. So I think that's
true.
what. Now the big flip for me was that game had no shield, which every Dark Souls game.
So that's what I thought made it harder.
Well, for me, for someone that played that mainly focused on having a large shield that protected most of your damage.
Yeah.
That's how I always played Sword and Shield.
But that's why I thought it was harder too, because Dark Souls, you could technically just hold your shield up.
Yeah, you just have to make
all the
sure that
time.
you don't get your stamina knocked down to the point where you get hit.
Yeah. I only played the first Dark Souls, to be honest. I never played 2 or 3.
Oh, okay. 2, a lot of people had problems with. I actually enjoyed it, but the hardest one by far out of the whole series is Demon Souls, the original. Which also didn't help was the fact that when I was working at GameStop and I was just running around looking at all the different games and I was like, "Ooh, what's this Demon Souls game?" And someone was like, "Oh, supposedly that's kind of a difficult game." And I was like, "Oh, all right, let's take a peek." So I bought it and no heads up, no nothing, just popped into the game, died, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." I have to kind of take this serious, even every enemy, because usually in Contra and all those other games, all the non-boss enemies are simple, like 1 hit, 2 hits. They're easy, they're predictable.
The tutorial Goombas that are supposed to be really super easy at the beginning.
Exactly. So then I realized, okay, this is something that you really need to focus on. It does have also the pet peeve thing that Matt hates. In Demon Souls, they took that away in Dark Souls, but in Demon Souls, the more you died, the more your health bar got cut down. So
Sounds infuriating.
it was, but that's what kind of gave me you could fix it if you came back. There was like a spirit thing that you could get, and it would turn you back to the living, because you could be dead and you can play it, or you could be alive and play it. When you're alive, you have more health, but people can invade your game. So that was the whole invasion thing. So when you're alive, they made it more difficult because they would have people, and you had more health. When you're dead, you lost some of your health, but you didn't have the fear of invading. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But it was neat
Would
because
that be easier now because less people are...
well, nobody's playing it online. It's on. I'm pretty
When
sure
people
the servers
invade
are
you,
gone.
they come and hurt you? Because I thought it was...
they try and kill you.
Oh, I thought they came and tried to help you fight guys.
You can summon people, but you
Yeah,
can't.
that was my
and it's
recollection,
random too, because you have to hope that someone's in your area, and you have to pick their summon, and then you have to go through the menu and say yes. So if somebody invades you, at that point it's mano y mano. You don't really have time to just summon someone.
God.
So yeah, it was tough. So what you used to do, ways to avoid that, if you were really good at maneuvering, I would maneuver past some of the enemies, so he would have to fight him, or he would have to evade too. So a lot of the things I would do, like if you're on a narrow bridge, something I try and sneak by, and then they'd get hit by the enemy, and at that point they'd fall off. So I was like, all right, I get points for him dying. And at that point,
So you get rewards for invading people, or
you get
stopping
yes, you get
invasions?
if you're an invader, you get points for invading and successfully invading, and then also you get points for defending.
Jesus.
But that's like a side. That's almost like a mini game part of it. But
outside of that kind of series of games,
yes,
and I do have one in my chamber if you don't bring it up that I think you're going to bring up. What are the hardest games you've beaten outside of that Soul series? Because the Soul series I think is a special tier in my eyes. Because that's like a company that brands itself on trying to make a hard game purposefully.
yeah.
True.
I'd probably say Contra, Contra Hardcore. Is that what you're thinking?
No.
Okay.
I'll let you know if you don't say it.
Contra Hardcore was, even in the title. But
Hardcore?
Yeah. Woo! But it was so
got
difficult because there was so many things flying at you on the screen, and on top of that, if you I get spread, I'm doing awesome, everything's easy, and then you get killed, and then you're like, oh crap, now I have this crappy, single shot gun I have to press until my friggin' thumb has a blister on it just to kill everything, in front of you. So, for the time, that probably had to be. And on top of that too, Contra Hardcore was one of the first games that I have played that allowed decision making to happen. So you could, at the end of the first level, it's like, oh, do you chase this guy or do you let him go and focus on the main thing that your guy on the walkie-talkie is telling you to do? So it was one of those first games that kind of told you, like, or you could change your path depending on which option you choose.
Which system was this for?
Sega Genesis.
Genesis.
It's going to be on the Sega Classic or whatever. It's one of those.
Is that
things.
out?
No,
It's coming
it'll
out
be out
soon. Like
soon.
what, next week or something?
I'm gonna say it's around September 25th. It's gonna be the week, like the week after Borderlands comes out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Like
that's
on-
like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So, so I'd have to say one of the Contra games, and I mean the only other one I'd think of going back old school would be the Legend of Zelda 2.
that was the one.
That
In my
is
chamber that I
absolutely
was gonna bring up.
ridiculously hard, especially towards the end because there's no map, there's no it's all memorization. There's no guide. It's just kind of tell it like here's the world, have fun, and they don't give you any hints, nothing.
It's like difficult, but it's almost not difficult. It's just like annoying. It's like
It's
just frustrating.
Oh, see, I found it difficult because the fights with the knights were really tough. You had to sit
Okay,
there.
yeah, I didn't-
Those type of fights were fair, but they were
I didn't
tough.
play it. I'm just saying those old games that just kind of don't give you even like a breadcrumb
Oh yeah,
to
that's
figure stuff out.
Yeah,
it can
no,
be frustrating.
Yeah, the original Zelda I feel like did that, but this one it was the original has something about it. Like you had the sword, right at the beginning when you had full health. If you just did the attack, the thing would fly across the map, so you could kind of cheat. And this one, when you had full health and you attacked, it went like 6 inches. and half the enemies, if it was like a metallic enemy or something like the knights, it wouldn't affect them. It only affected the like common enemies, like those stupid little puddle enemies. And
Did Link's Awakening do that, where if you had full health, you'd shoot a beam out of your sword?
The first one?
Link's Awakening for the Game Boy.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think they all did that, didn't they?
No.
No.
That's why I was wondering. I
stopped
think it
with-
might have just been the first 2 games. If Link's Awakening didn't do
No,
it.
I think Link's
what's the
Awakening
third game
did.
that Link to the Past?
Yeah, Link's
Yeah.
Awakening definitely did.
Link to the Past didn't do it. You didn't
Yeah.
shoot a beam out when you just hit your sword. You could charge it.
Only when you had full health, or no?
No,
I don't remember.
You just
I
charge and do the
you
spin
charge and do the
attack.
spin. Okay.
I think because I remember it distinctly in the first 2 Zelda games. I never played Link's Awakening growing up, so I wasn't sure if that did it. Also, the Sega Mini comes out on the 19th.
19th. Okay, that's right before all those big games hit.
Shoving that in there.
So, but yeah, no,
the day before Link's Awakening.
So that is true. You're gonna have to wait a little bit for your special edition, but it's gonna be worth it, Mr. Andy.
That's fine. I can get into it later.
Yeah,
it's fine.
But yeah, no, I gear when that's why Shadows Die Twice kind of immediately felt like it was like advertised for me because I really like those games that really they know it's difficult. It is difficult, so when you beat it, you don't feel like it's something that everyone beats. You kind of feel like you're part of like a special group that like, hey, I really worked hard and beat this. And I achieved this. I think that's fun rather than something that's all about time. But
Did you finish that game?
Which one?
Shadows
Die Twice? No, I'm pretty far in it. But every now that one has a different type of difficulty spike. For me, just like Bloodborne was different because I'm so used to Dark Souls where I could defend. This one's very different is because they want you to, there's something called like parrying. So it's basically doing something just as they're about to hit you with an attack. And that was never the way I played. I always would just completely dodge. And at this point, it doesn't do you a lot of good to just hit them with your regular sword. For some reason, hitting them with the sword doesn't do a ton of damage. So that's what kind of threw me off of this one. Now I'm starting to understand how the game going, and now it's kind of like, all right, now I see how some people can find this game quote unquote easy, but it's still rather difficult. But still nothing. It can't hold a candle to Demon's Souls, the original.
I feel like the GameCube, PS2, Xbox era is when like you started getting more games that either they were trying to gear towards a general audience, or maybe they had a difficult setting built in that you could change. Like back in the NES, Genesis, Super Nintendo, that whole area, that was games. That is how they were,
Yep.
Whereas like it's a lot different when you have a difficulty setting to say you beat a hard game, because you can say like my friend Vinny beat like Halo 3 on legendary mode without dying. or something like that.
Did he?
Or I don't know. There was something special you had to do, maybe only using a pistol or
Damn.
That
was his jam.
Oh,
I remember
that he was hardcore into those. Since we're talking about beating games, Dan, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 games I'm going to name here.
Okay.
Devil May Cry 5.
I own it. Haven't beat it yet.
Ultimate Alliance 3.
Haven't beat it yet.
Wind Waker HD.
Working on it.
Samus Returns.
Okay.
I just wanted to know if there was any update on whether or not...
Add control to that.
Control's on the list of play, but I know you haven't beaten it yet.
Okay. I'm playing.
And it's fine.
Working
Just want to
on
know. Update. So far, since I started kind of keeping count, this doesn't count for any of your past either succeeds or failures. You've beaten 3. I don't remember what the 3 were.
Days Gone.
Days Gone was definitely one of them, and there were 2 others in there.
Yeah.
Played 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I had to change that to 9. I added Shadows Die Twice to the list.
Well, I can tell you that probably by next week, Control will be done.
Okay.
Just a heads up. And then
the listeners have been bugging me to know where we were on this. That's not true. No one has asked. I'm simply curious because it's a constant note on my phone.
Gears I will beat because it's pretty linear. Like I said, Control will be beat.
So yeah, he's gonna make sure to bring up the easy to beat ones just to make sure pump up the numbers a little bit.
Yeah, I see you making that face over there. Yeah, no, it's just a lot of them are open world and take a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So don't you me?
I really want you to beat Wind Waker just because
I want to beat it. I got
talk to you about it.
Like I said, yeah. You still have to beat what's it called? Soma.
I do.
And Plague Tale.
I don't buy a lot of games though, not as many as you.
I know, so therefore you should have more time to play those.
No, I don't live with my girlfriend.
I don't live with my girlfriend either.
You live with your wife.
There you go. Yeah.
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 To spend time traveling, doing things.
I have to travel for here.
Oh, well, please. Please. You had the entire day off today.
I
You
know
played
what you're
baseball for most of it, I bet.
I did not. I did a little.
Anyways, gents, where can people find you?
You can find me at Matt Talks Games on the Twitter.com.
Twitter. Okay. You can find me at Game Review Guy on Twitter.
It takes you there.
For the record, does the twitter.com take you there?
No, Twitter.com.
Okay. Just for the record, please do not go to thetwitter.com. It's probably a spam site. Kind of like when you put too many or too few O's
Google.
in Google, or you accidentally go to utub.com and it brings you to some spam site. Like, some
really?
Indian company bought out the URL. You can find me at Highly and Andy on the Twitters, and that's the only place you can find me, I'm pretty sure. Also, I will try to get a new episode of Link Between Zeldas out this weekend, but no promises. I've been very bad at that lately.
Sweet.
But
sweet.
I already have like the next 3 episodes written.
Nice.
So I should start recording them. So you can find the podcast at Manabar Podcast on Twitter or the Manabar Podcast on Instagram. You can also find us on Facebook and on YouTube. And please, if you like what we're doing, please comment, rate, share, tell your friends, send those emails, manabarpodcast@gmail.com. Matt gets really sad when you don't send emails.
It's very sad.
It's very devastating. And with that, this is The Collector. I forgot what Matt's name was.
The trophy.
The Trophy Hunter. You haven't done that.
You gave me that
lately.
name.
Yeah, but you haven't done it lately. What trophies are there in WoW to get?
There's none in the classic. I think there's a bunch in the retail.
Okay, rewind. This is The Collector, The Trophy Hunter, and the Bargain Bin Gamer logging off.